Hey, what's up, knitters? Welcome back to our cozy winter shawl knit along. I'm Jana, and today we're going to talk about chart C and how many repeats to do and get along with making our shawl much bigger, much more quickly. So in charts A and B, we concentrated on getting those cable patterns established. They're going to run up one side of the shawl, and that's just looks amazing. And my yarn is super squishy. I'm just loving it. I've never used this Malabrigo Rios before, but I'm loving it. So in the beginning, we got this chart established, and this little lace panel here in the middle I'm really enjoying, but I have had to be careful about the alternating yarn overs. But the alternating of it is important so that you have those yarn overs kind of zigzagging up. And I messed up several times. I've had to tink back rows and make sure that that's right. Too much Netflix, not enough concentration. So be mindful of that as you're going forward. And now I'm cruising along in chart C, and things are getting bigger because we're increasing, doing that knit front through the back loop every other row. And so that's making our 45-degree angle, and it's making everything much bigger. So that's amazing. Okay, I want to take just a moment to thank some of our patrons. These are people that financially support Purl Together by pledging a small amount every month in trade for some benefits that I'm offering. So if you're interested in that relationship, check out our page over at patreon.com/Purl Together. I want to give a heartfelt thank you to 5 of our patrons that continue to support this channel each and every month. And that would be Kathaleen Morton, Lou Galentine, Cindy Nicholas, Amanda Moore, and Sarah Fish. Thanks so much for being part of the Purl Together family. All right, at the end of the last video, we had a 2 and 1 left cross cable, and we have that again on this chart C. I think I neglected to tell you about that in the end of chart B video last time, but nevertheless, if you want to do it with a cable needle, you'll slip this first one off and hold it to the front. And if you're doing it without a cable needle, you'll go in behind, being careful not to snag that first stitch. Just go in behind, grab those 2 on the left, pinch this one with your thumb, take the left needle out and around and get a hold of that single stitch again. And so we're just reversing the order of these. And then so we'll knit these 2 and knit the last one. And we've just taken that stitch across the front of those 2. Then we'll go ahead and work the rest of our row as usual. And now the instructions ask me to place a marker. I'm just going to knit until 1 stitch before the end. Now the end here, not counting this I-cord edging, this stitch would be the end if I'm following the pattern exactly and not doing the I-cord edging, then this stitch is the end. So I am doing the I-cord edging, but for the purposes of the instructions, I have knitted to 1 stitch before the end, knit through the front and back loop of that last stitch. Then I'll carry on with my I-cord edging, which was the knit 1, slip 1 with yarn in front, and knit the last. And then just turn your work. And that was row 1 of chart C. All right, now on the wrong side, I've worked my I-cord edging as we have been all along. And I'm just going to knit to the marker, slip the marker, and work row 2 of the chart, being mindful that the dots are knits on the wrong side and the blank spaces are purls on the wrong side. So just going to follow along with the chart as we have been pretty much knitting the knits and purls. The purls on going back across. All right, I'm on row 3 of the chart C, and I've done my I-cord edging, and I've done the 2 stitches here and slipped the marker, and I'm about done the first purl stitch also, and I'm about to do that cable at the beginning of the 3rd row. And so I'm choosing to do it without a cable needle. You do it with if you'd like. But we're just going to follow the chart as we have been all along with B and A. But the only difference with chart C is that we're going to start increasing, doing the knit through the front and back loop at the end of the right side rows in order to grow the shawl in width. Okay, here I am at the big cable in the middle of row 3, and that's a 5 by 5. So I do put that on the cable needle because 5 stitches is quite a bit to to try to do without a cable needle, in my opinion. So I do go ahead and use it here and just hold those to the front, and I knit the next 5 and then pull those across. Let me count since I'm talking. 3, 4, and then I should have 5 left before the purl stitch here, and I do, so I know that's correct because there's 15 total in the center, divided in thirds, 5 stitches each to make this braid in the middle. So that's pretty cool. It's turning out well. Okay, again, I have finished the chart, or if you're following the written instructions, I'm at the spot where it says purl 1, slip the marker, and then we'll take the yarn to the back, and we're just going to knit to the end. And for me, that's 1 stitch before the end, which here again, here's my I-cord edging, those 3 stitches. Now I'm 1 before the end, and I'm going to take this last stitch to do an increase and knit through the front and the back loop. Now we're going to start increasing every right side row in this way, and so that's going to build the triangle of our shawl pretty quickly, really. So if you need to put a marker there at the end, you know, and separate off these 3 I-cord edging stitches and place a marker right here, then totally do that, and that might help you just to remember that. So otherwise, we're going to start building a garter stitch wedge in this section, and that's going to help our shawl grow while maintaining the pattern of our chart. All right, I've knitted through about 4.5 repeats of chart C, and things are looking really good here. But I'm about to run out of yarn, as you can see, and I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice about 12 inches because I want to do the join to my next skein within this garter stitch section. I think that's a good place to hide it rather than trying to mitigate a join within the pattern portion. So I'm actually working on the wrong side right now. I'm going to sacrifice a few inches of this tail so that I can make sure that the join occurs within this garter stitch section. I think it'll be more invisible that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut off, I'm going to leave a tail of 6 or 8 inches here, and I'm going to do the Russian join. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera and not take the time. If you need some help remembering how to do that, I'll put a link to that video down below that shows you exactly how to complete the Russian join, or you're certainly welcome to do the whichever way of joining a new skein works best for you, because after all, you are the boss. All right, you can see I've done the Russian join here, and I'm just going to trim. This is actually the join spot right there. I'm just going to trim these tails a little bit, and then I'm going to carry on knitting through the garter stitch section. Okay, you can see my Russian join here, and I'll trim those tails a little closer if I need to after I go ahead and knit through the garter stitch section a little more and see how everything looks. I have completed 6 repeats of chart C and also added that new skein. And if you look really closely, you might be able to find where I added it, but I think it blends pretty well. If I notice anything sticking out after blocking, then I'll go ahead and trim that out. So now you're just going to want to carry on and continue doing chart repeats as many times as creates the shawl length that you prefer. Okay, so cruise along through chart C, as many repeats as make you happy or you have enough yarn for, or buy more yarn, you know, that's always an option. And I am loving this. So when I'm holding this, if this was, you know, how I was going to wear it, then I would be measuring across this diagonal, because I kind of like this way. If you wore it like this, or you wrapped around your back and wore it, you know, as a traditional shawl, then you'd measure across here. So I consider that 72 to 74 inches is kind of, you know, your wingspan. So I've got quite a bit to go, right? That's okay. I'm loving this shawl. So I'm only about halfway through chart C, but I'm probably going to make it bigger. So next time, we'll talk about how to do the I-cord edge cast off. So we'll end up with the I-cord edge all the way around our shawl. I think that's created a really nice sturdy edging. I will definitely use it again. So stay tuned for that next week. As always, thanks for watching, and drop me a comment down below if you have any questions.